Welcome to Under Construction, Restoring the Whole Woman. I am your host, Cynthia Martin, here with my beautiful co-host, Sonia Marie, and we are her conscious life experts and holistic wellness advocates. This is a weekly broadcast where we share leading edge ideas and courageous conversations about perseverance, authenticity, and thriving as modern conscious women. We thank you and are happy to be back with you once again. Sonia, how are you?
I am well. How are you, Cynthia?
I am fantastic. So excited to be here. Last week's show was a little bit longer than we expected because, of course, there's no rushing sharing our story. But for those of you that tuned in and stayed on the whole way through, we appreciate you for honoring us in that way, as it was a big deal for us to share ourselves and to the world. So openly and vulnerably,
Everyone.
putting ourselves out there. So again, this is a safe space for women to be able to find healing through the stories of other women's journeys. And our intention is to support you in whatever way possible, whether it's to expand your mind and to look at things differently, or whether it's to give you tips and tools that will guide you to enjoy the journey a little bit better and have more ease in it. We're happy if it is able to do any of that for you. So, and if not, and we trigger you, ask yourselves, what is it that I don't like about her that I don't like about me? Because you're here for a reason. You didn't find us by accident. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to my beautiful co-host, Sonia, to get us nice and grounded into our bodies and with a little bit of a breathing exercise so we can be supportive and listen and be present. Go ahead.
So the breathing rhythm that I want to do today is a 4-2-7 rhythm. And the reason for that is so that we, when we're actually breathing and we're counting our breaths, it is literally impossible to have another thought come in. And scientifically, it is impossible to have another thought coming in. So it is a way to show you that you can get out of your head if you're needing to do this before you go to sleep, or if you're needing to do this right when you wake up, just to start your day in a positive way. It's definitely a way to center you and to kind of get out of your mind. Okay, literally
get out of your mind.
So
don't be out of your mind, just get out of it.
That's right. So let's close our eyes. And where I want you to focus is your belly button area, your diaphragm. And I want you to inhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold your breath for 1, 2, and exhale it out for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 1, 2, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, inhale, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold. And exhale out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. So when you're going through the process and you're counting and you're doing that hold, the holding at the top, sometimes people are forcing it. They're like, I can't hold it any longer. Sometimes holding for 2 seconds is a lot. You feel like you're going to explode or you want to inhale, is a way to also use to condition your lungs. And so for exercise, just doing this breathing exercise 3 or 4 times a day for 3 times consecutively, 3, I guess, reps
cycles
is what I would
reps,
say.
There you go, reps.
You can literally learn to condition and expand your lungs in a really healthy way to be able to bring more oxygen in, but also to settle the body. So it's called a 4-2-7. And really the 7 is just to kind of make sure that all the stale air is exhaled completely out of your diaphragm. And sometimes it's hard for people to exhale all the way out for 7. But practice it. It's definitely something that you're going to have to condition your body for, but it does both. It both wakes you up or in the morning to force oxygen in, and if you're in a relaxed state and you're laying down at night getting ready for bed, it also will then settle your body at that time. Okay?
So think of it as the reset button, because I do deep breathing exercises with my kids too. And they're masters at it. And it's amazing to see my 5-year-old self-regulate when she feels like it. But she definitely does the breathing exercises. And it's another way of opening up your awareness. And it's a very powerful tool, simple tool to be able to start to enhance your connection with the intelligence of your body. Because what you'll find is you'll start to notice aches and pains, right, Sonia? It's like you'll start to notice like, oh, wait, shoot, how long has that little thing, twinge thing been there? Has that been there all day, right? So you want to make a note on those kind of awarenesses?
Yeah, just when we're aware of what's happening in our body can only resonate with one pain at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll even work with clients and they'll have, say, a pain in their lower back, and that will go away. And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't feel that anymore, but it's really weird. And what I'm doing right now, is it now causing my knee to hurt? And I get all of these questions going. And of course, eating right for your body is not going to make something else hurt. It was already there. Your body could not deal with that pain on top of it. And so that pain will show up after something else goes away, because now there's room for your body to go, pay attention to me. How about here now?
Exactly.
Let's take a look at this. And so you'll uncover all these layers as you start to heal your body, of going, okay, thank you for healing that. Now pay attention to this. And it doesn't mean, oh gosh, now something else is wrong. And that's kind of the comment I get all the time from clients, are going, now I took care of this. Why is this showing up? Well, it's not, why is this showing up? That was there. You just weren't aware of it. And so really looking at it in another way of understanding, wow, okay, now my body is showing me this. Now I need to address this. And once you start to go through these processes, you process it faster. You get through it faster. You feel better quicker. And a phrase that my clients use all the time that I love so very much, and seriously, I think I need to patent it. It's like, I didn't realize how bad I was feeling until I started to feel good. I hear this all the time. And what that means is I was really unaware of so much stuff, that when my body started to feel good and I started to have more energy and I started to let go of this negative mindset, that, wow, like, this is what it feels like to actually have more energy. This is what it feels like not to have the aches and pains. And I like it. And I want more of that. Right?
Exactly.
Is really what it means.
Well, and I think, so I was making a note, because that's going to be a quotable, guys, right there. That's a quotable. Tweet it. Share it. It's so true. It's, and this is why people struggle with anxiety. And this is a common thing that I'm seeing so much of it. And it's so sad, because it's like the rates of anxiety, I forget the percentage, and we'll provide stats, but it's like the increase in anxiety and depression in women will have increased over 20% from last year within the next year.
I have the stat.
You do? Go for it. Please share.
So anxiety and depression, just from last year to this year, is literally 33% of women in the US are either going to go on an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication that was not on it from last year. Now, nowadays, in the last 5 years, I think the statistics are close to 28% of women in the US are already on a medication to calm themselves down, or to not feel so anxious, or to not feel depressed. And I'm going to tell you, sisters out there, it all has to do with that microbiome. What is going on, that gut-brain relationship. This isn't a new trendy thing, not for me anyway. Maybe for in the media, it is right now, that people are like, what is the biome? And our gut is our second brain. No, our gut is our first brain. It tells our second brain what to do. And our gut lining of our stomach has this amazing neural system that tells our brain how we're feeling. And that all has to do with our serotonin and our dopamine, our mood regulator and our happy feel good regulator in our body. It's not built in our brain. I've been teaching this for 25 years. It's built in the gut lining of your stomach. Your serotonin, almost 90, I think it's 1 or 93% of the serotonin in our body, that feel good hormone, the feeling safe in our body hormone, is built in the gut lining of your stomach, not in your brain. So
there's more brain cells in the gut than there are in the physical brain, and there's more brain cells in the heart as well than there is in the physical brain. So we have 3 brains. We have the gut brain, the heart brain, and the mind brain, right? So they are interconnected together, and they do not, the rest of you and the symptomatic things that you experience in physical form and what your body's telling you is had already been communicated to you many times in different ways, and you ignored it long enough to the point where it just got so bad that it's now turned into something that is so extreme that it needs another layer of attention. Would that be accurate to say?
Absolutely. And the beauty of all this, the messages that both Cynthia and I, however you're receiving it, is this: you have control over it. You have control over your own body. It's just getting the resources and understanding what we weren't taught, or understanding that we can take responsibility for ourselves. If we want it bad enough, we can fight for ourselves. We can heal our body. We can make those changes. And there's absolutely a place for anxiety medication and depression medication. I'm not saying there is not. What I'm saying is you can help yourself regulate your mood and feel good about yourself and in your body when your body is healthy.
Absolutely. No, and that was, it was so poignant. I remember the first time you shared that quote. It's like, I didn't know how bad I felt until I started to feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
Normalcy, right? What your normal is. It's a new normal.
It's a new normal. Well, and it's not normal. It's an abnormal normal. Right. It's like we've created it as a normal because that's what the mind will do. The body's job in your life is to survive. Okay. It will do everything. It has a level of intelligence. It has its own intelligence, and it's such a complex system that you don't even realize what it's doing behind the scenes without you even thinking about it, and protecting you and keeping you safe and keeping you healthy and alive. That's its number one function, is to keep you healthy and alive.
Yep.
Despite the things that you do to it and you neglect it. And there's so many ways in which we do that, right? And there's a lot of us out there. You're not going to be hearing new information in many of these situations. We're going to offer it to you with a new perspective. But it's like, and I've done this, I've said this to you, there's certain circumstances that we choose, myself included, have done this, where it's like, I have chosen to deal with one thing because I am not prepared yet to immerse myself in what I know it will take to create change in another area. And we do this, and there's nothing wrong with that, but take responsibility for it though.
Well, and it's also our mindset that it's going to be overwhelming and too hard and too difficult. And it's already your preconceived notions of what you think that journey's going to be like. And that's also something that we want to share here, that it doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. It's one simple thing. And we had mentioned it in our previous, right? Our water, our body's going to do what it needs to do. If we're chronically dehydrated, which 80+% of people in the US today, those numbers are getting higher every year, are chronically dehydrated. Our body's going to take it from wherever it needs it. It's going to take it from the bile in our body if we don't give it to ourselves. So it's going to do it to survive. So stop doing it that way and drink water, right? So it doesn't need to be overly complicated. I had a client that started with just water. And I've actually done this with myself in healing my body when I started. Just water. Before you eat or drink anything else, have a glass of water. I don't care if it's a Snickers bar. Tell yourself that I'm going to have water before I eat it. You're going to change the outcome of what your body is going to do. One, it's going to crowd it out and you're not going to want the Snickers bar. Two, you're actually putting an action step in place from what you used to do, which is extremely powerful. And three, this client that did this, in 2 weeks' time, she just drank water and did whatever she was doing before the same and lost 13 pounds in 2 weeks.
Right.
It wasn't water weight. She was adding water in.
Exactly. Right? And we're not advocating to taking these shortcuts and not, because we're about you advocating and taking responsibility for your life and for your health, right? We're not saying that, that's going to be the only solution. We're saying that if you're not willing to make the bigger changes, if the decision to improve your life in any small way is too overwhelming, we're giving you tools in which you can take the smallest of action steps, that it's not going to take extra time. It's not going to take any effort, that you can just make a conscious choice to do it, and it will create an impact to get you started, right?
Absolutely. It's going to make a change in your body. If you're doing an action step and you are consistent with that action step, you will get a different result. Just right. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. This is doing something different, approaching it in a different way, and being open to trying new things and being open to trying the suggestions that we have. We're not saying we know everything. We are sharing between the two of us. We're sharing, close to 50 somewhat years of knowledge.
Oh, crazy.
What I know, I'm telling your age again.
Combined, guys, combined.
For one of us, we're combining this knowledge and telling you what we know has worked with thousands of people out there. And maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. But if you are consistent with doing something different or approaching it different and making it your own thing, then I promise you're going to have a positive outcome.
Absolutely. And that's what we're all about. So we all, and Sonia, keeps touching on it. It's like your body has its own blueprint on how to thrive, on how to be in its optimal health. And you also have an energetic blueprint in which how you are here to utilize your creative energy, your purpose in life. So that's an energy. And there's a blueprint for that too. Like we all come with our own special, unique flavor of how to do and say certain things. And most of us are walking around going against our own blueprint. And that's why we struggle, and that's why we're suffering. And then adding all of these other elements of like creating these false priorities, I'm going to call them, because these to-dos, right? Like these ticking off checklists of all the things, the to-dos, that's like the worst thing. And there's the most successful people in the world, like the billionaires and the millionaires, they don't do to-do lists. They achieve goals and they manage their calendars with a goal to accomplish each day, right?
Yes.
And there's a ridiculous percentage of like, these to-do lists, the percentage is so high. It's like 90% of those to-do list things on the to-do list are never going to get done. because you're constantly being bombarded and you don't know how to manage your focus. You don't know how to manage your attention, and you're not paying attention to yourself and what you need. You're not nurturing yourself. You're depleting your energy resources. Your personal resources are mind, body, and spirit. And you're neglecting and overriding. Like every time your body is telling you, hey, I need more water, or I need to go pee. I
get that all the time.
I don't want to drink more water because I'm going to have to go to the bathroom more. What?
This is a big one. No, this is truly a big one. I get this at least twice a week with my clients of going, oh, well, I can't have that much water while I'm at work. Or I can't have that much water before I go to work because I have a long drive in my car. Or I don't want to disrupt, if I stop, I'll have to stop every 15 minutes or 30 minutes. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. We want you to stop. We want you to stop.
That's
and we want you to disrupt that pattern of what you're doing and go to the bathroom. Literally, go sit on the toilet and breathe, for God's sakes. This takes you out of your mindset. And when you are out of that, those cortisol hormones that are in that stressor from morning till night, especially when you're in a high intensity, stressful job, work environment, if you aren't breaking those chains through the day, you are shutting your body down and your metabolism down, and you're storing body fat. Mm-hmm. So please stop. Go take a 5-minute pee break. Go to the bathroom, and even if you don't need to go, well, at least once every hour where you move your body. You're not in the chair. You're not in front of the computer. If you're like, I can't disrupt myself that many times, set yourself up for every 2 hours to stop and go do that. But drink your water. You're not going to be punished by your boss because you had to go to the restroom. It's not grade school anymore where we're raising our hand going, can I please go? Please, ooh. It's like, do this for yourself. Your body needs to flush it out. And the only way we remove toxins and body fat from our body is through water. So stop hanging on to it. Let it go.
But you're toxic, ladies. You're toxic in so many ways when you don't drink your water and you don't take your pee breaks. So so this is your tip for this show, right? Take your wee-wee breaks, ladies. Drink water, take your wee-wee breaks. That's your tip for today.
Please, and I know there's people that even have like bathroom issues where they don't like going to the restroom in public places or even at work, where they'll hold it the entire day. That is the worst thing you can do. Go to the 99-cent store and get the little seat, what do we call them? Ass gaskets?
Ass gaskets, yes. Go get your own ass gasket.
The seat covers, keep them in your bag. Take them so that you feel comfortable in going. And
you can order them on Amazon because they sell them. I used them when I went traveling
right? Seriously, I know this sounds silly, but do it so you're comfortable. Bring, smell good.
Free now.
Spray, whatever you need. If you don't like being in the bathroom, bring your hand sanitizer without alcohol. It's not a product push. I have one on my site where I formulate these these hand sanitizers without alcohol for my nurses and my doctors that are always washing their hands, and their hands are so dry they're cracking and bleeding because of the alcohol in there, is the reason why I formulated it, so that they have something that's conditioning for their hand. Or get your own that doesn't have alcohol in it and take it with you so you feel like you're in a clean environment. Do what it is you need to do that you feel safe so that you can actually eliminate. You need to stop holding things in physically and let your body do what it naturally needs to do.
Exactly. And you know what? I don't want you to apologize for promoting your products, because you spent 25 years really giving your whole heart and advocating for your clients, and they're the reason why it's you put yourself in a position to put it out there. So this is one of the things I demand it. so I'm going to say the word demand, that there is no apologizing, right, for expressing ourselves and for sharing things from the heart, because that's what we're all about, and that's what we're here. And we're going to share with you things that we've used. We're not telling you to buy them, you know, with the exception of the products that Sonia, most of the time it's going to be things that we have used personally and that we recommend with our clients. Okay. And, you know, that's another tip for today. Get a rubber band, put it on your opposite hand and snap yourself. And I want you to count how many times you apologize and why you're apologizing. Because
Right.
this is one thing that I am so like, it just lights my, just, you know, boils my blood hearing people, not just women, but having us be so conditioned for apologizing for even existing, right? That's basically what you're saying. It's like, oh, I'm sorry for being here and having an opinion.
It's when you run into someone, right? There, you're like, oh, sorry. Like it can be a mutual, you know, bumping. It's not really your fault. You're apologizing for it. Like those kinds of things. And thank you. Cynthia keeps me in check as well. We keep each other in check.
Yes, and you're going to see that.
And she's absolutely right, because the whole reason for formulating my product line was for my cancer patients. And I shouldn't apologize for something that I love to do and be able to have a resource for my clients. And you're absolutely right.
Oh, Spirit said amen, sister, because I felt the chilies all over that on that one. So own it. And this is part of our process, you guys. We've been apologizing for caring too much, for giving too much, for opinions. Like I've been told, and highly sensitive people. So I shared a little bit about what that was. You know, it's not something to ever apologize for. So only 20% of the entire planet is born with the biology, with the nervous system that is more tuned in. So it's like a fine antenna that can perceive extrasensory information and also can process it in a much bigger way internally. So emotional information, like if you're an empath, and a lot of people don't even know that they're empaths, right? I said majority, over 95% of the people that are part of that group, right? 1.4 million or billion people don't know that they have this particular blueprint or this nature, and they're forcing themselves to operate, you know, counterintuitive to how they're meant to, and they suppress it and they reject it and they think there's something wrong with it. They get so many misdiagnoses. And it's really that they're untrained empaths. They're untrained in their own nature. They're untrained in what it means to be wired this way.
And I think that the word would be like HSPs, they're highly sensitive people.
Highly sensitive people.
You've heard it in that way instead of intuitive or an empath.
Exactly. So usually people who are more intuitive, if you're a healer or, you know, or just you're more sensitive to other people's feelings. You have an ability to be able to sense what other people are feeling, or to know things that you don't know. You know, maybe you don't identify yourself as an empath, but it's like you have this way of like getting people in such a way that they don't even probably better than they get themselves. Chances are you're a highly sensitive person. And I'll put in, so Elaine Aron is the one who is the pioneer in bringing this to light. Like it existed, but Elaine Aron is a psychotherapist who about 10, 12 years ago discovered this about herself, and it basically put her work in the trajectory to be able to research it more, and she's put a lot of love and education behind it, and has a lot of resources. So we'll share that with you in the links, and then just go to our page. We'll share some of these resources for you as well. But it's really important to understand that we've been apologizing for who we are. And it's so wrong, you know? And it's like, the part of me that it's like my greatest gift to the world is what I was most ashamed of most of my life. It was, right? And the fact that, like, you know, people have labeled me as, you know, having, like, being a medium, or no, I just have an ability that I've spent a lot more time, that we all have to some, you know, and not everybody's is as developed, but I've spent more time dedicated developing that gift. It's accessible to everybody. Some of us who are born a little bit more already in tune with that doesn't mean that the person next to us doesn't have the capability to having that same capacity. Okay, so it's never about better or more, but we have our own place in the world. So I'll share this little bit of information that was really significant in that understanding it and why it's so important to embrace our gift, whatever that means for you. But in terms of being that highly sensitive person, it shows up in the animal kingdoms, and they've had years and years of studying this, but they barely started over since Elaine Aron doing it in studying it in humans. So for example, a herd of zebras, there is 20% of that herd who is wired to be more highly sensitive. Why? Because they can hear, say, that lion coming 100 yards before everybody else does. And their function in that herd is the survival of their herd.
That's right.
Without that one zebra, the risk of losing some of the herd goes up. So that really put it into perspective, right? So, that's why, like, you committing to solve the problem, to support your cancer patients, your cancer clients,
right,
was that motivating factor, right? Like that triggered, for you to nurture that part of you. And that's kind of like what we're saying here, you guys. It's like that part of you they've been ashamed of, that you have ignored, the dreams and the passions, the things that you like that they told you, wouldn't make you money, or there's no career in that. That is part of the gift you're here to share with the world. Bottom line, so own it. Don't apologize for it. And the reason why I said put it on the opposite hand. So if you're like left-handed, put it on your right. If you're right-handed, put it on your left. You're going to snap it every time. It's bringing that awareness to what's going on in your body, what you're saying, because your words are powerful. How you express yourself into the world is a reflection of how you see yourself in your inner world. Right? Did you want to add?
You're snapping it when you have a negative thought. You're snapping it when you're devaluing yourself, or you're dishonoring yourself. Like, I get clients all the time that they'll go, oh my gosh, every time I come in here, I cry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's not crying, and you don't apologize for crying. We do it, right? We apologize for showing our own emotion. And I call it leaking. You're not crying, you're leaking, because there is something in there that needs to come out.
Absolutely.
And so we all leak, and we need to.
It's important.
It's very, very important for our transformation. And and so it's not about anything other than bringing awareness to how you feel about yourself and where your language is going in your head. We already know there's so many elements out here already that are negative. We don't need the ones inside bringing that to a whole nother level, which we do. And so being aware of it, going, you know what, I'm going to practice today kindness to myself.
Absolutely.
And my kindness is going to be, every time I say something negative to myself, I snap my little rubber band or a hair tie you can put around your wrist, just to kind of remind myself, okay, stop doing that.
Absolutely. And that's what we want you to say. And I know it got started with the breathing exercise, but listen to your body and ask yourself what you need, because it's helping you bring awareness to the neglect, right? And don't wait until, let this be your moment where it's like you give yourself permission to see that there's options for you to feel good. Don't wait until you get to the point where it feels so bad that you have no choice, that you're forced into figuring out what feeling good looks like.
Like I did way back in the day, and like you did, right?
Right, we all did. Right. So I think that's it for the show today. Thank you, Sonia. We can go on forever. So we'll carry it on. Tell us what you thought about the show. Tell us any of your aha moments. Give us some heart love. Share this with a sister, anyone that you know. If you're, again, whatever value we're hoping, please share with us. And if there's things you want us to talk about, let us know as well. And find us on Facebook at Her Life Mastery, and join the tribe, join the movement. And we're going to be sharing some fun little contests and opportunities to do some coaching with us in a Facebook Live. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities. We want you guys to be part of the community, because this is about expanding and connecting with each other, and changing our lives, and inspiring your sisters to do the same, and giving them the support and love that they need. So look out for that. Lots of fun stuff coming up next week, and much love and happy blessings, guys.
Bye-bye.